Hey everyone, Andrea here. Welcome to Karcher Makes. This is the place where I like to share all the crafty things. That's almost always knitting, but sometimes it includes crochet, spinning, weaving, quilting, sewing, cooking, baking, the whole 9 yards. These are the things that I love, and I hope you love it here too. Let's get into it. So normally this is where I would just jump right into the making, what I've been knitting, what I finished. But before I do that, I do want to share with you guys where I have been for the past month and a half. I took a very unintended hiatus, and I just want to kind of share what happened with you guys and even give a little bit of a PSA. So if you are sensitive to health topics, healthcare topics, that kind of stuff, completely understand. I don't want to trigger anybody. Feel free to fast forward a few minutes to actually get to the fun making portion of this, but I just do want to share some experiences that have happened here. And, you know, if you can learn from it, we learned the hard way, so I just want to share that. I'm going to spare you all of the gory details of how this happened, but the short story is at the end of August, my boyfriend had a very serious heart attack. He had some complications from the resulting surgery to insert a stent, and he ended up on life support. Now, luckily, the local trauma center here is very, educated, well-versed, prepared for cardiac situations. So he had amazing care. They took care of him very quickly. They identified the complications post-surgery and took care of it. Luckily, he was only on the life support for, I think it was maybe 3-4 days, and then they weaned him off and was able to remove that, and then he was, from there, well on his way to a better recovery. He's still out of work. He'll be not going back to work until the end of this month, but he's on a ton of new medicines. We've had to change our diet drastically to reduce sodium and cholesterol, obviously. And he has a lot of PT to do, which he does, bless him. And he'll be starting a cardiac rehabilitation program where they really work with you to strengthen your heart muscles back. And he will always be considered a heart failure patient now. Like, that's a label he'll never get rid of, despite, no matter how good his recovery is, he will always be a heart failure patient, and he will always be susceptible to these kind of issues. But as of right now, today, everything that could possibly go right has been going right. And he may need 2 more procedures, which we're both very nervous about given the complications that he had. But all in all, he's looking really good. He's feeling really good. He's saying he feels better now than he did before this even happened, which is amazing. So just wanted to share that with you guys. And I also want to give like a quick little public service announcement. If you don't have baby aspirin, chewable baby aspirin in your house, go buy them. Like, I cannot underscore that enough. They're cheap. I think I paid $5 for a bottle of 3 now that I now keep in my pantry. If you or someone you love is not feeling well and they're exhibiting like different behaviors than they would normally exhibit, just go take them to get checked out. I know the medical situation in this country is crazy sometimes with the insurance companies and all of that, but better safe than sorry. We were lucky that I had recognized that he wasn't acting right. He had none of the classic symptoms or signs of a heart attack. And I just noticed something was off, and took him to urgent care and then started the ball rolling from there. And this could have gone very differently for him had we not acted that fast. From the time that I took him to urgent care to the time that he was in the ER, in surgery, out of surgery, in recovery was less than 3 hours, which again is amazing and a testament to the good health care that he received. Now, we are very, very lucky. We are very privileged. Our company provides us very good health insurance, and I know not all of them do, and we're coming up on open enrollment here shortly, and I'm just hoping that, you know, they don't try to cut costs by cutting our health insurance benefits. He is out of work until the end of the month, and we do have short-term disability insurance, so he is getting paid for this time off, which we're also very, very grateful for. So if you reached out to me asking, hey, is everything good? You haven't posted in a while, or if you sent me a message on Instagram when I mentioned it there, just thank you so much for the care. Thank you for reaching out. We both really appreciate it. Okay, now that that is over, let's talk about the fun stuff. Let's talk about knitting. And I will tell you, knitting got me through this. I did not knit for the entire time he was in the hospital, but once he came home, once he started feeling better, I really, really gravitated to my knitting to get me through all of this. Like, it soothed my soul to know that I had that. It took my mind off of things, and it really did help. So with all that said, let's start with finished objects. And because it's been so long, I have quite a few. So first I want to share my finished handspun socks. Look at these. I made this yarn, y'all, and if you followed my Tour de Fleece video and some of the follow-ups, you've kind of seen these in various stages of completion, but here they are, and I love them. Now, is this yarn perfect? Absolutely not. It is very much overspun, and it was a good learning experience for me, both spinning this yarn and then knitting with it, because when I started knitting with it, I could very easily see where mistakes were made during that spinning process, and I'm thinking that that's really going to help me be a better knitter or a better spinner going forward. So here these are, and these are the Simple Stripe Socks by Dawn Henderson, which is a spin it to knit it pattern in Ply magazine. It's the tension issue, and we worked on this project as a part of the Ply Spinning Guild Spin It Knit It Long, which was super fun, and I just love, love, love how these turned out. Now here's the question. Will I spin for socks again? I think so. I don't know if I'm going to do 4 colors. Again, that was a lot, but I did really enjoy this project, and I do want to spin for more socks. Okay, up next. So this is something that you've seen and also in various stages of completion, and I'm not wearing this today because I wore it yesterday. I'll insert a picture here of me with it on so you can kind of see the fit. But this is the Uptown Tee by Tori Yu. And the yarn that I used is Rising Tide Fiber Company in the colorway Radiant Recovery. And this is on the, I want to say it's Calvert fingering base. It's 100% superwash merino, and I love how this turned out. I love speckled yarn and eyelets together. Like, that is my favorite thing ever with knitting. But I think this turned out very cute. I will say I followed this pattern exactly as written. I made no modifications to it. but I kind of wish it was a little bit longer. I wore this with pants yesterday and I felt like it kept riding up a little bit. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is just wearing this over like a sundress or maybe with a high-waisted skirt, and that can make it work a little better. I do have quite a bit of this yarn left over, so I guess I could always kind of take back the hem and add a couple more rows. But honestly, it's done. It's blocked. I've worn it. The likelihood of that happening is very, very slim. So there is that. The Uptown Tee by Tori Yu. And I also just want to give a shout out to Amy of Happy Little Yarn, because this pattern is one that I won from her Stitch Quest Make Along. So there you go. Amy, look, if you're watching, I made it. I made the tank, or the top. Okay, next finished object. And this is really the finished object that got me through those first few weeks. Right before this all happened, I joined the Charm City Ewenicorns in one of their Zoom alongs for the pink along that they are hosting, Charm City POW pink along. So it was a knit along, a make along, where you just had to make something pink with pink in it. And when we had that first Zoom, I was working on a different project, which you're going to see here in a minute. But when we had the Zoom, they were doing some giveaways, and I won a skein of Making Tracks Light. And that's by Junction Fiber Mill. And the colorway is, you can still kind of see it there, Pink Pony Club. So while I was on my hiatus, I cast on and finished this hat. Look at this gradient in this yarn. It goes from the super palest pink to this super hot pink. And I just love it so much. This is the photographer hat. The sport weight photographer hat. There's several photographer hat versions with different weights. This is the sport weight one by Lavanya Patricella, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. And this was a super easy hat to make, just some 2x2 ribbing, and then you switch needle sizes. We're going to talk about that modification in a second. Switch needle sizes and then just do stockinette and then just a regular kind of decrease at the top. So this pattern called for 2 needle sizes, and I made this small, by the way, because I kind of have a small head, although for this pattern with all the ribbing I could have made the larger size and it probably would have been fine. But it called for, I believe it's US 2 and US 4. 2 for the ribbing, 4 for the top. Yeah, I got to the top and I wasn't thinking and I grabbed US 6s. So the top of my hat is actually made with US 6s. That said, it's fine. Like, had I not even mentioned that, you would have really never known. And this looks really cute on. It's a little bit slouchy. So what I'm going to do is post a picture here of me wearing it. I'm not going to put it on because then my hair will be a mess and nobody wants to look at that for the rest of this video. But super cute. And I want to say that it was Aquila, if you're watching. Was it you? Are you the one that makes all the photographer hats? Somebody I watch on YouTube here, and I watch so many good people. It's hard to keep everybody straight, honestly. Pretty sure it's Aquila, though, of the Lefty Knitter podcast, who has gone on a tear making photographer hats. I'm pretty sure that's where I saw this and where I got the idea to make it. But good call if that was you. I really like this hat, and I'm probably going to make more because, again, it was super easy. It's super pretty, and I really like how it looks with the gradient yarn here. So that is finished object number 3. Let's talk whips now, and of course I have a sock whip. There's always a sock whip. There's never not a sock whip in my life. And I mentioned this when I picked this yarn up, but in case you're new here, in case you don't remember, I barely remember, I picked this up from Freckled Whimsy Yarns, and it's on the Splendid base, which is an 8515 superwash merino nylon. And the colorway is called Autumn Crush. And I kind of talked about this when I showed this as an acquisition. This is a 24 stripe repeat yarn, and they had intended it to be this year's advent, but they realized that I don't know if it was just the colors or the patterning of the stripes, how they worked out. They felt it was too similar to a prior year's advent skein, so they went ahead and just put them up on the site, and I picked it up. And I had intended to start these socks on September 7th and then knit basically a stripe or two a day to finish them on my birthday, which is October 7th, which when I'm filming this was yesterday. That didn't happen for all the reasons I talked about earlier. So I just went ahead and started them on October 1st, and they get done when they get done. So let's take a look. Here is the yarn. And again, it's 24 stripe repeat, and it's this kind of muted, dusty colors, which I feel like is kind of a terrible description, but I love them. I love these colors so much. I would really like a striped sweater in all of these colors, but I'm knitting them in tandem because with self-striping, advent skeins with a lot of different colors, I like doing them in tandem. Keeps me from getting too bored and having second sock syndrome. But here's how it looks so far. And I guess you can kind of see here, I guess I didn't really think about this yet, but now that I'm through a few colors, so this kind of creamy yellow color was the mini skein that came with the sock set. But once you get past that and this first stripe, you can kind of see that I guess these are sort of similar to last year's, where it was a color and then a darker version of a color. The color and then the darker version of that color. And I feel like this is kind of starting to go in that same sequence, so maybe that's why they felt it was too similar and put it on sale separately. But I love these colors, especially this like kind of rusty rose right here. It's so good, and it's so perfect for fall. So the plan here is to kind of work through these for the month of October. If they get done by the end of the month, it's fine. There's no sort of self-imposed deadline on these. I'll just kind of work through them as I can, as I feel like it. And they'll get done when they get done. And as far as like needles go, I like doing fingering weight self-striping yarn vanilla, and I like doing them on US 1 needles, which is a 2.25 millimeter. By the way, I got new glasses, in case you didn't notice, and I've had progressives, so bifocals. I've had progressives for several years now, maybe 4 years, 5 years or so, I don't know, a while. I'm going to a new eye doctor, and let me tell you, he has the prescription dialed in, like perfectly. I can read the size on my needles without having to take my glasses off and holding it straight up to my face. Amazing. So anyway, there's these socks. I love them. They're beautiful. And also 64 stitches is my standard vanilla sock pattern, 2x2 ribbing. I normally like doing like 15 rows. I did like, I think 13, because I also like doing a plain knit row after ribbing when there's a color change coming. to just keep it from doing that little kind of nubby breakup that happens on the pearls here. It's not a big deal, but there those are. The next whip, which was a whip, and then it wasn't a whip, and now it's a whip again. My step-by-step cardigan, which was supposed to be my primary project for the Charm City Pink Along. And then, y'all, if you saw the last episode, you know all of the mistakes that happened with this, and I'm not going to bore you with those again here, but I think I've since redeemed myself. Let's talk about it. So this is living in my Ravens bag that I sewed and quilted last year. They're doing terrible this year, y'all. Like, I don't know what's happening in Baltimore with our sports teams, but can you guys just win something? Like a game? Just one. One more. I'll be happy. Anyway, so back to this. Charm City Pink Along. So this is the step-by-step cardigan by Florence Miller. I'm 80% sure that's the correct name. I will correct it below if that is not correct. So the last time you saw this in that prior episode, I basically had almost the whole body done and then part of a sleeve. And I realized, because I was running out of yarn, that something was very amiss. And thank you to everybody who commented on that video and gave me advice. So I was kind of toying with maybe trying to just rip back to the raglan section and making that shorter. And then other people mentioned that if I were to just do that, then I run the risk of the back of the cardigan not being sized properly for my shoulder width and could have issues with it falling off the shoulders. So here's what I did. Number one, I cast on a smaller size. I went back to the sizing in the pattern and really kind of read through it again. Now, I did swatch for this, and my swatch is on point. I guess I missed the fact that the positive ease was built into the numbers. Now, one thing this pattern does not include is the finished measurements. Like, when you were finished, when it is blocked, it should measure this around your bust, this around your arm, this for length. It just kind of gives like basic measurements that are inclusive of positive ease, and I apparently missed that. So I cast on a size 5, which was really the problem. That was too big of a size for me, and I needed to go down a size. So I went down to a size 2. I think it was Renee and I'm blanking on the name of her channel here. My Adventure Knits, maybe? My Knitting Adventure. I'll link you below, Renee, if you're watching this. I apologize. My brain is like still oatmeal. But they mentioned that they made this in a size 2. And I felt like just, kind of based on what she shared with her project, that may be a better choice for me as well. And it didn't have massive amounts of positive ease in it. So at the size that I wanted it to be around the bust and the arms. So here I am again. I ripped all the way back to nothing. I have bunches of little tiny balls of yarn now because I'm striping this in 13 row stripes and I'm not carrying the yarn. And it is so much better. The fit is so much better. My yarn management is so much better. I'm still going to be running it very close on yarn, but I don't think I'm going to run out. And Just like last time, I kind of stopped the body, and I'll show it to you from the back so you can really see. I stopped the body early so that I could then do the sleeves, and then I can always manage the body length from that point with what is left. Worst comes to worse, I have very similar yarn in very different colors. I think I have like a charcoal, a tan, a cream. If worst comes to worst and I need to do like the cuffs and then the button band in like a contrasting color, I can do that. Not a big deal. But all in all, as much as it pains me to have had ripped out all of that work, it's going to be worth it in the end because I'm going to have something that's going to, well, actually fit. So there is the step-by-step cardigan in progress for the second time. Now, I know the Charm City Pink Along goes through, when is Rhinebeck? The 18th, the 19th? I don't know if I'm going to get this done by then. Maybe, because really the only two active whips I have are those socks and this. So maybe it gets done in time, but if it doesn't, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. I still have the hat to submit to the knit along. But there we are. Much, much better, much happier. And I should also mention this yarn is from Schweitzer's Fiber Mill. I got it at Maryland Sheep and Wool from their bargain bin. I got 3 skeins of each. I think it's a worsted weight like farm yarn. It's a little toothier than normal, merino would be, which is fine because I don't want to use a super soft yarn for a project like this because I don't want it to pill into oblivion. And because this is a much more kind of rustic, toothier yarn, it's not real scratchy, but it's obviously not merino. I feel like it's going to hold up a little better to all the wear that I want to give it. But yeah, Schweitzer's Fiber Mill. It was unlabeled farm yarn from the bargain bin. And I love it. So there is that. Those are my 2 active whips. That's everything that I finished while I was away on my little unintended hiatus. But let's talk acquisitions. So the day that all of this stuff went sideways, I was at my local yarn store that morning. They had a Sunset Fiber Co. trunk show, and I'm pretty sure her name is Valerie. They're from Lancaster, PA, which is not far from here at all. And you guys know I love a local business, local small business, love supporting them. And they had the most beautiful yarn and fibers at this trunk show. It took me so much restraint to not buy everything. I show good restraint. What I ended up getting though from Sunset Fiber Co. in particular, they had these one-of-a-kind Shanico silk combed tops. They're called Solar Flares, which is their name for their kind of one-of-a-kind series. And I got these 2. How pretty. How pretty is this? Can we just enjoy that? And the camera is doing an actual really good job of showing this color off. It is very sort of fuchsia pink with hints of purple. And then this one is a very light blush pink with hints of lighter purple and a little bit of white running through it. And again, these are Solar Flares, and it's Shanico wool, which is a breed cross between Rambouillet and Merino. So what I want to do with this is I want to spin this up into a DK, maybe a sport weight, and I want to do a 2-color cowl of some sort because this fiber is so soft, especially with the silk in it. It is so soft, and I feel like that would make an amazing next to skin project. So maybe a cowl, maybe an infinity scarf. I don't know. I'll have to go find some good patterns for that. If you have ideas, drop a comment below. But there are those. I'm very excited to get these started on the wheel. I wanted to start these already, but I wanted to show them to you guys first, and you know, I just didn't have time to do that. So there those are. And then while I was there at my local yarn store, I was taking a look at other yarns too, and I saw this. This is from Shirsty Cat Designs. And this colorway is a limited edition from June of 2022, and it's called Pride But Crank It Up. And it is these amazing neon speckled rainbow. Now, here's what I'm thinking about doing with this. I had also purchased this from the same local yarn store. It's You and Me in York, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. But I had gotten this when I was there for, I think it was local yarn store day. I got this yarn, which is also by Shirsty Cat, and the colorway is called Anew. Same base. I'm thinking these two need to go together in something. Maybe a 2-color scarf, maybe a hat of some sort, maybe a musselburgh. Could do one side with this, one side with this. I don't even know. But I love these colors so much. And also, Joan makes these little stitch markers. And this one is this little cat. Hopefully that's in focus. It's a little cat in a teacup, and I just thought that was adorable. So there's that. And then lastly, in acquisitions, Frogget Yarns is doing a yarn club. Every month they have a book, and the yarn is based on the cover of the book. And then they also partner with the Littlest Charm Co. to make a charm based on the book theme. And I love this idea so much, and I am really trying to, I don't know if you can tell, you probably can't tell, but I'm really trying to not purchase as much stuff. I want to use what I have. But when I saw that the book was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, I already kind of had plans to read this book, and this came with the charm, by the way, this little book cover. So I already had plans to read that book. So when I saw that this was for the club, obviously I had to get the yarn. And this is on there, 75-25 superwash merino, and it's a sock set. So this is definitely going to be socks at some point. And here is the charm from the Littlest Charm Co. Look at the little dog. And there's a dog featured in the book. And that's all I'm going to say about the book. I don't want to give too much away. And then on the back, there's a little beach with a star. How cute is this, y'all? Like, come on. How cute is it? So, these will also be socks at some point. At some point. Oh, and apparently I got this while I was at my local yarn store too. This is Kelbourne Woolens. This is the Scout base, and it's this very sort of deep eggplant, burgundy, purpley color. And what I want to do with this, now I didn't really have a plan for this, I just kind of saw it and was drawn to the color. I know I wanted to make a hat, which is why I only got one scan of it, but we are currently watching The Traders. We got rid of Paramount Plus and we got Peacock instead, we're gonna try to start rotating through all of these like subscription services, because look, subscription services are getting out of control, y'all, especially with TV streaming. Like, everybody has their own version, and by the time we buy all the versions, like, we're right back to paying cable prices. So I think we're gonna start rotating through, but we have Peacock for now, and I love a reality show. I've talked about this before. I love a reality show. Never met a reality show I didn't like. It doesn't matter how cringy it is. I love it. And not only is The Traitors a reality show, but it's a reality show with other reality show people on it. So it's like a crossover. Love it. Why am I talking about that for this yarn? The show is set in Scotland, so lots of plaid, lots of hand weaving, the outfits are amazing, and for some reason, the women on the show, like several of them, are wearing berets. So now I'm like, I need a beret. Do I need a beret out of this? Would this make a good beret? We're going to find out, because I kind of want to knit a beret now. And if you have any suggestions for beret patterns, I've already started looking. I've already favorited a few. But if you have one in particular that you think is cute, that you like, let me know, because I think I want to knit a beret for winter. So that's all I have for you today for the making portion of this program. All knitting today. I did start an English paper piecing project, and I didn't bring it up here. I'll maybe show it on the next episode, but while we were in recovery mode here, him physically, me mentally, I just needed to do something that was kind of different. So I started an EPP project. It's a little kind of kiss lock pouch, super cute. Started that. I will maybe show that next time. And then I'm still working through my weaving project. It's just kind of slow going. It's plain weave, which is not the most exciting thing in the world for me to work on. And again, with everything going on, I just haven't gotten back to that. But I do want to get that off the loom, because there's some things coming up that I want to make, and we'll leave that for the next episode, all of the exciting stuff that's happening there. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about all the things. And if you are new here, I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate everybody giving this video a like. This is not a normal sort of episode for me. These are normally very much more routine and less dramatic. So I would really love it if you came back again. Let's talk some more about knitting. Let's talk some more about crafting and the joy that it brings us and the sanity that it helps us maintain. So thank you again for being here. I appreciate y'all so much. Till next time, happy making.